We're now going to go to Vanessa Vokey. She's from Canada. She's a photographer, artist, and radfem YouTuber. And she's going to talk to us about her experience of being cancelled and about her YouTube channel.
Basically, I started working at a vegan restaurant. And while I was working there, I got let go and basically confronted by my boss because I had been posting gender identity, ideology criticism on my Facebook page. And because I was let go from that job, I made this design that says "I heart J.K. Rowling, woman equals adult human female," which was very much inspired by Posey Parker's billboard that she put up in Liverpool and in, I think, the London Tube. And when I posted the design on Instagram, right away I got messaged by a local photographer who I'd never met before. I've done family and wedding photos for about 7 years, and she just messaged me saying, "What's the message of your shirt?" And I said, "It's the message that it says on the shirt." And she said, "But are trans women women?" And I said, "Trans women are men." And then she just put me on her story and said, "This person is transphobic, like go and report her, or this is awful," whatever. Basically just trying to publicly shame me. And it just kind of snowballed. About 15 minutes later, I was posted on like 15 stories, 20 stories, 50 stories, 100 stories. And because of that, because of all of these, because of all this negative attention, I decided to go on YouTube and tell my side of the story. And when I made a video, I made a video saying I was canceled for transphobia, and this is my side of the story. And I explained that the reason that I'm concerned is because of the same reasons that all the women on this phone call are concerned about gender identity ideology, which is that women have already had to struggle for our rights, and this is just another setback. So when I made my videos, I got a big reaction from people saying, "This is great. I don't feel like I'm crazy anymore." People were very surprised to see a Canadian person speaking out about this as well, because Canadian people are often seen as very like polite and not wanting to rock the boat and just want to be considerate of everyone's feelings. But I was just very blunt and honest about how I feel, which is that I'm angry about the women being harassed just for stating biological facts, right? So after I started making videos, some people made me aware of a guy named Tamanda Godson, who is a transsexual YouTuber who has a very young audience, where he makes videos criticizing feminists, basically just excusing men in women's sports, saying men in women's prisons is okay, just awful, awful stuff. So people said to me, "Why don't you make a video about this guy?" And I thought, okay. And I made a video kind of highlighting that he made 2 videos about his bottom surgery. Bottom surgery is obviously a euphemistic term for sexual reassignment surgery, I guess, which is also a euphemistic term for penile inversion, which is what this young man did, where he got a surgery to invert his penis into, a hole that could potentially, or like an orifice that could potentially be used for intercourse with a penis. And he was claiming that he now had a vagina. And obviously I had a problem with that. So I started to kind of do some more research about this procedure, about some of the misconceptions that people had about it, about kind of, I showed a way that he was contradicting himself in 2 different videos where he was speaking about his procedure, but in very different light and in very different terms. And I think that the main reason I wanted to make the video was to kind of goad him into making a response. I thought it would be interesting to see if I could kind of lay all these little traps to show that he didn't know anything about women's biology, and that he didn't care about women's rights and women's sex-based oppression. And it was very successful. He made a video about me that now has 1.1 million views. It's the 5th most viewed video on his channel. So, thanks. And what ended up happening was he basically, kind of made me into this star, and a bunch of people, just jumped on board with me and started supporting me and saying, "This is great. you're finally speaking truth to these men and saying, no, I'm not going to coddle you. I'm not going to say she and her when I know that you're obviously a male. And of course, I've gotten a lot of hate. I've gotten a lot of targeted harassment from this person's, like this Samantha Lux person's fandom, because the way that young people operate now, especially stans, which is basically a word for obsessed fans, is that they see bullying and harassment as virtue signaling and woke points. Like they get social status from bullying people online, which is a very big discrepancy from how bullying and online bullying was seen when I was younger. So recently I made a couple posts on Twitter and Instagram saying to this Samantha Lux person, you know, hey, like, let's debate, because I don't think you belong in any female single sex spaces. And I think that just really put him over the edge. And he sent all of his fans to come and report my account, report my videos for hate speech. And eventually, you know, YouTube just took down my account. They do give you strikes, but the strikes only last for 90 days or something. So you cannot post for 90 days and then you can get your channel back. But they just didn't even let me do that because they let someone report a video that I had already posted. So my YouTube channel was removed. I have started a new channel. While this was all happening, my Twitter account got suspended. And it was really interesting because this Samantha Lux person tweeted, "Karma is lit," which is basically him gloating about my YouTube channel getting taken down. And I responded to him and said, "You've already gotten your karma. You cut your own dick off." And apparently that was reported as a threat of like violence, which I'm like, how is it a threat to point out what you've already elected to do to yourself? But you know, worth it, I think, because I made my point and a lot of people saw it before my account got suspended. But again, I have an old Twitter account, so I'm still on Twitter. You can find me. I'm never gonna go away. Like, I'm just gonna keep moving around, and just keep kind of trying to stir the pot and get more people involved in the conversation, regardless of whatever side you come from. I think we can all laugh at the absurdity of the situation, and I think that's kind of what I try to do, is bring more to light of the absurdity of these men and the things they claim, and the declaration, the oppression they claim. It's just hilarious and absurd. So I try to be the person that's like pointing out that the emperor is not wearing any clothes. And I think that's why they had to cancel me, because I was doing it too effectively.
Where is your new channel? So where can people?
So I started a new channel and I just called it Tomboy for Life, like LYFE. And my profile picture is the photo that I posted kind of mocking Ellen Page when she posted the photo wearing the toque and the hoodie and her glasses, because I just thought, this is brilliant. I have to post a picture like this. So people can find me on there.
YouTube as well, or is it somewhere else?
No, it's on YouTube as well.
So you're allowed to, even though you've been banned, you're allowed to set up a new one?
Yeah.
That's great. And did you save all your old videos?
Yeah. So I've got a hard drive here, so I've got almost all of them on there, and I think there was maybe one that I don't have, and there's a couple people that have backed up everything because they're smart and they know. And I plan on uploading them to like Vimeo as well, you know, like I just haven't gotten around to it yet because uploading videos takes a lot of time.
Can you tell us a bit about this moving around?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what we're sort of thinking, that we've been banned a little bit from YouTube. They've taken down one of our videos, and we're sort of thinking that we'll probably have to do this moving around. But can you tell me how that works?
So I mean, basically the main thing I think with YouTube and with Twitter and all these other places is that they can suspend you for posting content that other people just don't like, because that's basically what I was suspended for. I never used hate speech. I never advocated violence against anyone. That's a very specific, you know, accusation to level against me, that I use hate speech. I just said things that hurt people's feelings, and that's supposed to be the same thing. And then the other part of it is that they can report you and you can appeal, but it's really all up to that one YouTube person, whoever is working for YouTube, whoever's moderating it in that moment, whoever the real human whose eyes are watching your content and like appealing, doing the during the appealing process. It's really just up to them and what they politically believe and where they stand ideologically. And for the most part, they're all pro-trans because they're, you know, they work in IT, and a lot of them probably are trans identified. I think you can tell from like radfem accounts who don't even post content, but just subscribe to people like me and Birdie Rose and LA Androphobia and other radfem YouTubers and just comment on the videos. Their accounts were even deleted this weekend. So there's something very nefarious going on when it comes to these platforms, singling out feminists and women who are pointing out the absurdity and the insidiousness of this gender identity extremism.
And
because,
Vanessa,
yeah.
a question I have, in your reading, do you think that they, I mean, what's motivating them? What do you think they actually think? Let's say this YouTube person who's sitting deleting your channel.
I think that they think that I think that there's two minds of it, right? There's the smart people who know what's going on and they're profiting from it, right? Like the corporate billionaires and the social media. I think they are kind of hand in hand. I think they're in this together to groom young kids to be a part of this social experiment. So there's that. And then I think there's also the people, like the actual people reporting me. There's two minds of it. I think there's the young teens who are reporting me because they genuinely think that I'm perpetuating violence against trans people by misgendering them because they're so brainwashed and naive, basically. And then there's the autogynephilic men who are reporting me because I'm raining on their parade so spectacularly and kind of chipping away at the facade that they've built up for themselves, and waking women up and piquing women to the insidiousness, like I said, of these men. And one of the things that I really want to focus on too is in gender critical circles, like even there's still women that are, oh, like Blair White is a she and blah, and I'm like, you gotta just be serious here, and you gotta understand that you can't make exceptions for people just because they agree with you on certain things. Like there is the truth, there is male and female, and Blair White is a male, so using she her pronouns for him is completely hypocritical if you're going to go ahead and criticize other people using pronouns. So I think that there's still a lot that needs to be done to peak women and younger people. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is like reach people who already kind of feel, you know, there's something a little bit wrong here, right? Because I think we can all feel that there's a tidal wave of, you know, detransitioners coming forward. There's all of this stuff happening with Rachel Levine in the United States as the health secretary, denying Rand Paul's questions about puberty blockers for kids. You know, there's the Curabell Tavistock case. There's so many things now that are coming out and happening that I think a lot more people are sort of waking up to being like, you know, men and women's sports. I just don't think that I'm really okay with that. And if you can show them, not only is it just this little thing you're not okay with, it's all this other stuff that you don't even know is happening. And I think like one of the reasons I think this is really insidious is because I had made a second channel because I knew my first YouTube channel was going to get taken down. And I only uploaded 2 videos to the second channel, but that one was still taken down for repeated violations. And the only video, one of the videos I had uploaded, was my speech about the men in women's prisons. And I think that is insanely insidious, because one of the main things I said in the video was, the media doesn't want you to know about this because it doesn't suit their narrative that anyone can just choose who they are. That's not true. We are who we are, and men face different challenges and women face different challenges, and that's fine. But like, this is not okay. Women in men's prison, or men in women's prisons, is not okay. Like, this is a damnation of our country, and how little they care about women. They don't care about women's safety. They care about men's feelings more. And so that was taken down for hate speech or whatever. So this is what they want to silence. They really don't want women pointing out exactly what's going on. So every time they remove a video, it just proves that we're fighting back effectively and that we're a threat. I think what needs to be done moving forward is less infighting amongst people who are fighting for the same thing. You know, I've gotten a lot of grief for supporting creators who are more traditional, you know, and support traditional gender roles and are conservative and Christian and blah, 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 blah. But my whole thing is, do we agree on reality? Are we fighting for the same thing? We might have slightly different motivations, but our motivations are pure, which is that we don't want kids learning this garbage. We don't want kids having their bodies medicalized because they feel confused or because they're autistic. And I think, you know, the argument that some people make is that, you know, feminists can't be straight or can't associate with men or have to separate from men. I don't think that that's fair. I think there's also, you know, I have concerns about how to protect male children from male violence, because I don't necessarily trust men around children. You know what I mean? So I think that there's a conversation to be had about protecting male children as a part of feminism, but it's like, where's the cutoff, right? But I think that there's a lot of issues when it comes to like genital mutilation and genital cutting. I just watched a really excellent documentary / play by Eric Klopper, who was fired from Harvard for doing this really informative talk about male circumcision and the implications that has on male sexuality and on female sexuality. So I kind of want to bring attention and awareness to that. Even though people may not feel that male circumcision is a feminist issue, as a straight woman, I know the difference between the two, and I know that I know from my own experience, men that are intact have a way better sexuality. They're not as you know, they have more enjoyment, and I think that and also women you know, have more enjoyment from it as well. There's a reason why we evolved to have sex the way that we did. Like Sheila was saying, you know, some people, you know, I've heard of stories like that before, especially like conservative Christian people trying to conceive and not really getting how to do that. And so I think that there is like this natural there is this natural equipment that we've been given, and what a lot of men have been robbed of their natural equipment and then are left hobbled sexually. And I think there's a lot of implications for that when it comes to pornography usage, when it comes to masturbation, when it comes to objectifying women, like seeing sex as just kind of a masturbatory act instead of a mutual exchange of pleasure and connection and all that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to female and male sexuality and how it can be healthy and it can be rewarding and can be good for both partners. But I think that there's so much work that has to be done to get there. Like Sheila was saying, there's so much conditioning and there's so much socialization of women to be subordinate and to not prioritize their own pleasure in their relationship or in their sexuality. So yeah, I think there's a lot of conversations that can be had there.